I already made a pattern for this dress, and I made a video on how you can draft out this pattern, free pattern. So I would advise you go see that video before you watch this. So if you haven't seen that video, I would advise you to pause this right now and go see that video on how to draft out a cowl neckline, and then come back to this video. So this is the sewing version. I'm going to be showing you the simple steps. Once you've drafted out your pattern, you've seen the video on how to draft the pattern, and you have your pattern, go right ahead and fold your fabric into two. Place your pattern on the fabric and cut. To ensure this does not move, if you have pins, you go right ahead and pin this down, or you could place heavy objects on this and then you go ahead and cut. Onto the skirt part, that's the back. Before I place my pattern to cut, I'll go ahead and make space for my zip. So where this zip will be sitting, I'll create space for that. So I'll place my tape and take 2 inches from the beginning of the fabric to the end at the edge. So after that, I'll rule a straight line because I want that line to be visible, because I want to place my pattern from that line. Like after the line, I'll place the pattern from there and cut. So remember to also pin this. So once you place your pattern from after the 2 inches, pin it, or you place the heavy object so it doesn't move, and then you go right ahead and cut. Right now, I'll take the proper points for the zip allowance. So on the waist, I like to take 1 inch. I like to go in by 1 inch. And then on the hip points, I take 1.5 inch also. Not 1 inch, I take 1.5 inch on the hip point. And then from the hip point, I go down by 5 inches. And from that point, I take 1 inch straight down. That is how I take my zip allowance. So I'll go ahead and connect the points and cut this out. You guys, I advise you to use a ruler to connect the point. What I'm doing right now is rough, but then connect to get a clean work. Connect this point with your ruler and then cut this. So what I'm doing right now is just indicating the wrong side of the fabric, because this fabric looks the same right side and wrong side. So I have to indicate where the wrong side is so I don't make a mistake when I'm joining. So I'll be cutting out facing for the front. The facing is just going to stop at the waistline. So yeah, I'll place the pattern on my fabric. Make sure you fold your fabric into 2 for this facing also. So I'll place my pattern on my fabric after I've folded, and then I'll use my marker to indicate where the waistline stops, because I'll be stopping there. This facing is not going to go up beyond the waistline. It's just going to stop there. So I will indicate, and then I will use my scissors to cut this. So I'll be making facing for the skirt part, but then this facing is not going to be more than 5 inches long. So after folding my fabric into two, I'll place the skirt and cut this out. I'll make sure it doesn't get more than 5 inches, and then I'll cut this. You know, this piece, this back piece is divided into two, so you divide, make sure you divide the facing also into two. Okay, so I already cut out fabrics for the straps. I have 4 here, 4 different fabric for the straps. These are 1 inches wide, and then for the length it is up to you. So I'll take this to my machine and sew by 1/2 inch, and then I'll be flipping this to the right side. This is how I want to make the straps. There are other ways you can make straps, but this is how I'm making this one for this dress. So now I'll be using my needle just like this. I have a little thread on it, and then I'll be flipping this inside out. So it's time for me to join, and the first piece I'll be joining is the front piece and the facing. So this is how I'll be doing it. I'll place the facing right side on the right side of the front piece, and then I'll sew on it by 1/2 inch. After sewing, I want to pass my straps now. I want to attach the straps, so I'll loosen this up on the sides. You can use your razor for this, you can use your seam ripper. So after losing, I'll pass the straps from the right side, and then I'll pin this down, making sure that it is sitting how I want it to sit before I go sew. While I'm at it, I'll go ahead and sew in the sides by 1/2 inch. Now this is what your project should be looking like. If you're doing this with me, this is what your outcome should be. So when you drag out the straps, this is what you get. Okay guys, I forgot to tell you, I decided to top stitch the front, the top. I decided to do that because I wanted the sewing. This is actually necessary, but it's not that important. This is just to enable the facing not to move, not to come out from the front. So yeah, you can go ahead to do yours. You can go ahead and leave yours. You can go ahead and use hemming gum. Onto the skirt part. Now I'll be sewing the facing to the skirt, and then before I do that, I'll go right ahead and indicate the point where I want the straps to sit. So I'll go in by 4 to 5 inches from the zip side. I'll go in by 4 to 5 inches, and then I'll place the straps between the fabric and the facing and sew. So guys, if you're doing this project with me and your outcome is not looking like this, I think you're doing something wrong. You should watch this video again from beginning to really understand, and I'll advise you to pause anywhere you don't understand, pause and replay so you don't miss it. So now I'll be attaching my zip to this. I'll take my tape and then indicate where I want the zip to stop, and then for the rest I'll be closing that up. Okay guys, so we're getting to the end of this video. It's time for me to join the front piece and the back piece together. So I'll place them right side facing right side, and then I'll sew on the sides by 1/2 inch. So this is what I have right now. This dress is done. You can go ahead and hem the base. If you don't want it to be ruched, you can stop here. But then if you want it to have the ruched on the sides, yeah, continue watching. So this is what I'll be doing. I already cut out fabric I'll be using for the sides. This is going to sit on the left side and on the right side. So this fabric is 3 inches wide, and for the length, it is up to you. It is up to how you want it to be on your dress. So I'll go ahead and place this where I want it to be. This is 4 inches below the waist, and then I'm stopping here because I want to hem the base by half an inch. Sewing this on the dress, I'll go ahead and sew the sides, and I'll hem it a bit by 1/4 inch because I want it to have that clean finish. So I'll sew the sides, and then I'll sew the middle. Once I was done sewing the sides and the middle, I have 2 points now on each side. So the left has 2 points, the right side has 2 points. So, and then I made these straps off camera, but the same way I achieved the first set of straps we just did, that is the same way I did this. And these straps are like 45 to 50 inches long, but you can decide to make yours longer. So I'll be using my safety pin to attach to the edge of the straps, and then I'll pass this through the points I created.